Tip number 1. If you hate leagues or have no intention of playing leagues, consider doing content on the main game that you didn't plan to do beforehand. Like, good example is getting your magic in Butte Cave. It's very likely that Wilderness will be much more empty on day 1 of leagues than today or tomorrow. Maybe you wanted to do wildy bosses, maybe you're an Iron Man and some of the shops you'd like to buy are always empty. Use this to your advantage. But for the rest of you that came here for specifically Leagues 4 content, I have spent the last 2 weeks gathering up as much information as I can, and here's everything you need to know about this game mode before you jump in. Before we do start though, keep in mind that we constantly get new updates with Leagues 4 every single day. And by the time Leagues 4 starts, some of the information you see in this video might be outdated, but if you want fresh, up-to-date Leagues content, I created a community Discord for people to discuss the latest Leagues news. So feel free to join us and the rest of the players to get strategies and cool tips and tricks for this game mode. Links are in the description. Okay, let's start. Trailblazer Reloaded League is planned for release on November 15th and it will run for 8 weeks ending on January 10th, 2024. Players can choose 3 region areas for unlock and Misthalin and Garamja are automatically unlocked at the start. Meaning in total, your gameplay will revolve around 5 areas or regions. In this video, I will go over all the general information we have currently, some tips and tricks on day 1, some strategies you can utilize throughout the leagues, and how to take maximum advantage of your relics, and we're even briefly gonna go over tasks. As always, there are chapters in this video, so feel free to jump around to whatever topic interests you the most. I will not go over regions because that's an entirely different video on its own that requires another 20 or 30 minutes because there are hundreds of different training methods, bosses, minigames, skill activities, and so on. But that video will come out this week as well, so if you'd like to see a video just for regions only, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's start with some overall facts we know about these leagues. Firstly, there are bound to be up to 350 new tasks compared to the previous leagues, and around 100 older tasks will be removed from the list and rotated out. In the previous leagues, we had almost up to 1000 individual tasks, and since Jagex is adding even more tasks now, it's safe to say you will not run out of things to do. Jagex is planning to release some early game tasks before the release of Leagues 4, which will help players figure out their day 1 strategies. This also goes with the relics. We're likely gonna start getting new hints as soon as this video goes live and day by day get more information. We also know that skilling tasks have point thresholds at level 99, at 35 million experience and 50 million experience. Now this may seem a lot, but keep in mind you are likely gonna get 15x experience once you unlock all the relics, which means getting a level 99 is equal to getting a little bit over 1 million experience. Good example is if you look at my previous league's high scores, I got almost 1.2 billion total experience, and I didn't even play that efficiently. I just played for Dragon Trophy, and for most skills it honestly wasn't that hard to get them to 25 million experience, which was the threshold in previous leagues. So even though a 50 million experience threshold for points seems very daunting, I promise once you get to the late game it will flow by very quickly. Some other small adjustments are the fact that box traps will be added to every single general store, giving players the option to catch chinchompas everywhere, and you don't need to complete Eagle Speak quest to catch chinchompas in Leagues 4. And furthermore, all the shops in the game will not decrease in stock, so other players can't grief you. This could be used to your advantage to drain something like crafting with molten glass and seaweed, since you will have all the stock available to you. Also things like Kuren favor have insane boost rates, so if you decide to pick that area, you don't have to worry about spending too much time getting the favor. Then we have minigames like Mahogany Homes, which work the same way glue scrolls do. You only get contracts or glue steps at regions you have unlocked, giving players options to still do them if you choose to. The same exact rule also applies for Slayer tasks. You will only get the tasks in regions you have unlocked. If we're already talking about Slayer, elemental shields will be added to all Slayer equipment shops, which allow players to still hunt wyverns without needing elemental shop quest unlocked. All the teleportation systems in the game like fairy rings, charter ships and magic teleports will require the player to have those regions unlocked before they can use them. For example, you cannot teleport to Ardoin unless you have Kandarin unlocked. Previously, it was suspected that you can't get the Soul Reaper axe in Leagues 4 because you would need in total 5 regions to unlock it. But it has now been confirmed by Mod Arcane that all the Desert Treasure Dew bosses will drop all the axe pieces. So you realistically need to only unlock one boss to get the full axe, and this goes for the full Virtus set as well. There has also been some information that all the minigame points will be boosted in Leagues 4 to some extent. So for example, in Leagues 3 we had fragment called the Barbarian Best Ward. Wars, which gave up to 4x points from minigames like Soul Wars, Barbarian Assault and Pest Control. So let's say you have hard combat achievements completed, that would mean you would gain 32 Pest Control points per game, which means getting the full void will take you approximately around 1 hour to obtain. For other games like Soul Wars and Nightmare Zone, you are able to buy your imbues with coins, so you don't actually need points. For example, if you need 1.25 million points to imbue your Slayer helm, in Leagues you can also spend 1.25 million GP to get it imbued. All diaries are gonna be completable in their respective regions. It is very likely that Jagex is gonna auto-unlock achievement diary tasks that require 2 or more regions. One example is Western diaries, which require both Kandarin and the Elf lands. Also, since every player is an Iron Man, most boss layers will be instances like God Wars dungeons, Dagonet Kings and so on. This is just there to avoid players getting griefed. Whenever you unlock a new region, most quests in that region are automatically completed. For example, as soon as you log into Leagues, Bon Voyage will be completed automatically, allowing you access to Fossil Island. As soon as you unlock Desert, all the quests in the Desert region will be auto-unlocked, which also includes Desert Treasure 2. And the same goes for Current and completing Client of Current and so on. Please keep in mind that auto-completed quests and prerequisites to those quests will not grant you any reward experience. This also applies to post-quest rewards. For example, auto-unlocking Monkey Madness 2 with Kandarin region will not allow you to claim the experience lamps after the quest is completed. Last time around, each region in the game approximately gave 10,000 points in total, and if you have Misthalin, Karamja plus another 3 regions, we might expect the Dragon Trophy to stay around 40 to 50,000 point range. Obviously, since then a lot of regions have been updated with more content, so the point threshold could also be much bigger or adjust because of that. For example, last time the Desert region was absolutely useless, so Jagex had to inflate the points in that region immensely just so people would pick it. But this time around, Jagex has added so much new content to Desert like Giant's Foundry, Guardians of the Rift, Raids 3, Temporos, Leviathan, and I guarantee all of the new content will be new tasks. And the same idea applies for all the other regions as well. Some of the new updates we gotten in the past 3 years is Path of Glowfree, Forestry Update, Wilderness Bosses, Mustbind Fremennik, Nex, which was in Leagues 3 as well, Vasani Nightmare, the speedrunning challenges in Char area, Shooting Stars, and so much more. So expect all the things I just mentioned to be tasks in some ways. This time around, Jagex has also announced passive boosts with every tier you unlock. Since there are a total of 7 tiers, you will also have 7 passive boosts throughout the leagues. And these boosts will stay with you no matter what you do or where you go. They can vary from getting stackable glue scrolls, more current favor, ability to choose your own Slayer tasks throughout the leagues, more experience, more drops, run energy not depleting, minigame boost, and many other effects. Okay, let's talk about day 1 and what you can expect to see. First of all, from my own experience, participating in all 3 previous leagues, it's very likely we're gonna have a rough day 1. I don't wanna curse anything, but the last 3 leagues have all had delays because something went wrong. Hopefully it won't happen this time around, but just to be prepared, especially from North America and Asia who have to wake up 6 in the morning and stay up late respectively. Other than that, I would aim for content that you always wanted to try out but never have. For example, I want to rush Construction Gate because I know that during the 2-month period there will be a lot of teleporting around the map, and having everything set up in my player-owned house with free teleports with my Construction Cape makes my life so much easier and faster. For that, I have to likely unlock Kurend as my first region on day 1 and do organized crime minigame for planks, or maybe just use the woodcutting guild to turn my logs into planks. And that is just one of hundreds of strategies you can do. I know, for example, something like Dooms of a Mascot is gonna be extremely heavy on points. So unlocking Desert region on day 1 and striving towards that is also a good idea. You will have overpowered relics and boosted experience and good purpose to help you out with that. Last leagues, the relics were so OP that things like solo Theater of Blood were possible. And that's the beauty of leagues. Things you otherwise can't do in the main game suddenly become available to solo players. The reason why I'm talking about unlocking your first region on day 1 is because the best thing in my opinion is just focusing on completing as many tasks as possible, because it works kinda like a snowball effect. The more regions you unlock, the more points you get. get. The more points you get, the more tiers of relic you unlock. It all kind of works together. Unlocking a new region on day 1 gives you an entire list of tasks you couldn't do beforehand, which boosts your progress much further. I wouldn't recommend going for total levels or high combat levels very early on. Most of the experience comes to you once you unlock more regions and relics. It's safe to say we're gonna have some interesting strategies coming up in the next few weeks, and I have a lot of content planned for you guys, so if you wanna stay in touch with the latest leagues info, make sure to subscribe. But that's it from me today. I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. I love you all very much. Bye.